This will make you question everything.
I'm gonna give in now. I'm gonna live this now. I'm gonna be when I'ma kill this stuff real quick. I'ma go figure the town, cause I gotta be that king in the ring when I'm knocking them out when I'm back with the wheel. Cause I am just up on the journey. Just know that I'm just going insane.
Warriors, rise. Grand rising warriors. Good evening to all of you all over the world. First of all, I want to start out with an attitude of gratitude and say, I love you from the bottom of my heart. As you can see, haters, non-haters, I say I love you to every single person because I truly believe you are just a reflection of me. And I don't care where you come from. I don't care what religion you are. I don't care if you're Bitcoin, XRP, XLM. I'm so excited to be in your frequency, and I'm honored that I get to explore this universe with you, whatever this means, okay? But what I want to share with you is my mission and purpose is not to become a leader or an influencer of people or get to sway anybody's opinion or get anybody to believe anything. I'm just sharing my truth and my awakening as I grow and heal myself as a father, as a whatever this is, this amazing platform I've been given. But I'm just going through a healing journey and finding my truth and expressing my truth to a camera. And so I want to thank you for that journey. I just felt like I needed to say that. So I love you guys. I appreciate you. So who am I? I'm Coach JV. I am the top health, mindset, crypto, business, and the greatest of all time. What you believe in your heart, you think in your mind will eventually become your words and become your reality. If you can see it in your mind, eventually you can hold it right here in your hands. What you repeatedly do gets ingrained in your subconscious mind. What gets ingrained in your subconscious mind becomes an unconscious activity. I just wanted to share with you guys as well. If you haven't joined the 3T Warrior Academy, I told you guys we're most likely going private next year, but we are raising the price on November 1st, 2022. There has been 10 times more value added in the last 6 months. We added Airbnb coaching in there as well. So if you haven't checked out the 3twarrioracademy.com, description down below, the price goes up on November 1st, 2022. So if you want to get grandfathered in, this is your time to get in the academy. All right, so let's dive right into this. So this is pretty cool. This was sent to me by an amazing human being. And this is a TikTok post that's out there going viral. And it's so cool because we actually shared this video on our channel a while ago. So we're going to watch the video and I'm going to show you something pretty neat. Let's listen to the TikTok first. And this TikTok was from Crypto DISCI Plex. Crypto Displex. So thank you for putting this out on your TikTok. Let's listen to what this TikTok says, and then I'm going to show you the actual video. We're going to watch the whole video, and then I'm going to show you the facts, figures, numbers, logic, how everything came true. Check this out.
Want to know how planned this all is? Gary Gensler was part of a digital currency wars simulation. 1 year later, he is the head of the SEC. The very same organization, which is suing a blockchain company that can do exactly what Gary Gensler was simulating in his simulation. What are the odds of that happening? He wasn't there by mistake. They put him there because they knew he was the next guy in line.
Okay, so thank you for this TikTok. So let's dive into this. So what you guys know, I love to see this stuff, and then I dive into facts, figures, numbers, logic. I've shared parts of this highlighted video. It's called Digital Currency Wars, a National Security Crisis Simulation on November 20th, 2019. Together, we are going to watch the whole video. And as we do, I'm going to narrate the video, and then I'm going to jump back and forth. So I'm going to keep it on this screen right here. And then I'm going to jump back and forth in between the facts, figures, numbers, logic of everything in this video has come true. Remember, this is a simulation on November 20th, 2019 called the Digital Currency Wars National Security Crisis Simulation. Enjoy the ride.
On the stage tonight, you will see a live simulation of a national Security Council's Principals Committee meeting at the White House. Our scenario takes place 2 years from today, on November 19th, 2021. We have simulated a world in which one big thing has changed. In March 2020, the People's Bank of China launched a sovereign digital currency known as the digital yuan.
Okay. So did you hear what they just said? So 2021, okay, Bank of China launched their digital yuan.
We're hearing reports that North Korea may be using China's digital yuan currency to evade sanctions and purchase weapons material.
Well, the digital yuan is an opportunity for the North Koreans to break free of the American hold on dollar transactions.
We're in a tight spot.
Okay, so this is a simulation. I want to make this very clear. They said that Korea may be avoiding sanctions. China has given away millions. This is the actual news that happened in 2021. China gives away millions in digital yuan trials. This is how it works. The People's Bank of China has been developing the digital yuan and so-called central bank digital currency that aims to replace some of its cash in circulation. Okay, this is important. China's digital yuan could help countries like North Korea evade sanctions, experts say. That's exactly what they said in the simulation.
Our major means to contain and deter the North Koreans has been financial sanctions. And now that's imperiled by the fact that North Korea is accessing the digital yuan.
I wish I had better news. Fundamentally, our ability to sanction North Korea in a devastating way depends upon Chinese cooperation.
We're more reliant than we have ever been on not our coercive power through SWIFT, but our persuasive power with the Chinese. And the Secretary of Treasury has already made that clear. He prefaced his remarks by saying he has bad news. I guess I have worse news, which is that we have 30 years of history of not persuading the Chinese to use their leverage.
One of the questions that the president has is, can we definitively say that the Chinese have the ability to see these yuan transactions that the North Koreans are using?
I do think that the digital yuan is totally transparent to the Chinese government. People's Bank of China initiated this several years ago, basically to compete in their domestic payment space with two big tech companies. Alibaba with Alipay.
Now this is key. So Gary Gensler is in this simulation at this point. He's the head MIT professor at MIT in 2019.
Intention with WeChat Pay.
What we talked about so far, I think, is the Chinese government, and there's another actor involved here, which are the Chinese commercial banks. That, as I understand it, the way the digital currency is structured, Chinese commercial banks are in the middle of it, and they have an interest in doing business in the United States. And so at some point, we need to think about what kind of pressure and other tools can we use to focus on those banks and their interests in the United States.
Breaking news out of Brussels this evening. A cyber attack on SWIFT, the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, has resulted in the theft of $3 billion from commercial banks based in Germany, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE.
So the old system just isn't cutting it anymore. And unfortunately, the trajectory of that is that it's just going to keep on getting worse and worse and worse. And so, yes, we see China with the yuan, but the competitiveness of the US dollar is a matter of national security. And we have to take this seriously and continue to innovate.
Secretary Summers, are you suggesting that the US create our own digital currency, or just that we work on SWIFT, we stick to our current system, but make SWIFT less vulnerable to cyber threats?
We need to make a secure SWIFT. Look, SWIFT is digital. It's all binary. It's all electronic communication. So there's a question about what the definition, what we mean by that. But my proposal is that we harden SWIFT, that we commit with respect to avoiding what other countries see as abuse of SWIFT, and that we make clear that where there are SWIFT transactions involving North Korea or involving other rogue nations, we will use the leverage associated with SWIFT.
We tend to think of the only...
Okay, so let's take a look at some news here that's happened. Now, remember, this is a simulation. Okay, so the SWIFT system, remember, okay, so Hong Kong unveils completed retail CBDC project, CBDC-backed stablecoin. Okay, China's digital yuan could help countries like North Korea evade sanctions U.S. sanctions. A digital yuan could allow some countries to avoid U.S. sanctions and increase Chinese government, experts say. Okay, U.S. banks prepare for cyber attacks, latest Russia sanctions. So this goes into the SWIFT system right here. Tensions between Russia, West escalate on Saturday. The United States and its ally moved to block some Russian banks from the SWIFT international payment system and place curbs on Russian central banks. Okay, they were talking about the America moving into a SWIFT type system. The FedNow services previously announced FedNow services timing narrows to mid-2023. Full-scale pilot testing begins. The Federal Reserve Bank recently narrowed its timing down to FedNow services, launched to mid-year 2023, targeting a production rollout of the services in May and July timeframe.
Only things that are provocative to the Chinese is our naval forces or military exercises. But if we build the kind of system we're talking about and have even a stronger dollar-denominated global currency system, whether it's electronic or digital, it'll be even more provocative, and we will be in a longer death struggle with the Chinese. I would argue that we revisit the G2 concept that we had talked about in the early days of the Obama administration.
The European Union ambassador, you've done a great job with the cocktail parties in Beijing. I'd like to hear from Secretary Carter.
We can't let stand the Chinese using this currency issue as a way of making inroads into what has traditionally been a strength of ours.
While we may try to shore up our financial dominance, we may also well be moving into a world where we are not financially dominant. I'm surprised not to hear the Secretary of Defense saying he needs more support for his military, that military action is going to be one of the tools that we are going to reach for more consistently.
I'll take that too, Madam Vice President. That scarcely does anything about a Chinese currency.
Well, I think we have to start
respect.
thinking big. We can't be bogged down. We have to think about our intelligence operations as well.
We have been leapfrogged by others, by digital currency, by digital Chinese currency. Why? Because frankly, our central bank has been slow, and there's an appointment coming in January of 22. The president's got to decide whether to change over who's leading the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve runs our payment system. And I think we need to move that Federal Reserve into the modern era.
What about in 5 minutes if we hear?
Okay, so Gary Gensler is in this simulation and ironically became the head of the SEC. And ironically, in 2020, a year later from the simulation, they throw out a SEC versus Ripple case, one of the most well-run crypto companies in history. They throw it out by Jay Clayton. Jay Clayton bails and goes to consult for a cryptocurrency fund. Bill Hinman gives Ethereum a pass. And this gentleman, who was in a simulation of digital currency wars, becomes the head of the SEC in December 2020, or I think it had ended up in the first quarter of 2021, it may be. So, and we know Ripple pilots private ledger for central banks launching CBDCs. And another thing to think about too, yuan jumps after reports on Saudis weighing in and US an oil deal, excuse me. So they're working to de-dollarize from the US dollar based on the petrodollar, right? Everything that they're talking about is coming true.
That the world is trading oil in this digital yuan.
Sorry, I jumped the case. This is the next thing I wanted to share with you guys.
What does that do to our economy? I think we really have to ask some of these questions so we don't have to wait 3 or 4 days for you to call a meeting every time something important happens. Thank you.
That was key what she just said. My apologies. I talked right over that. I jumped ahead. So basically she was talking about, now remember, this is a simulation. Everything has come true. Yuan jumps after reports on Saudis weighed its use in oil deals. So they're jumping the American dollar and they're trying to trade the oil in other currencies. Think about that for just a moment. That's what's keeping this US dollar alive. That's why Biden was asking the Saudis to wait another month after midterm elections so that he can get through these midterm elections without gas prices skyrocketing.
Here is the way that I'm going to summarize what I will read out to the president. Per the Secretary of State's recommendation that there will be a POTUS call to President Xi. We're going to talk about new avenues for cooperation. We need a strategy to, one, modernize our SWIFT system. I think the word was harden from cyber attack, from the North Koreans in particular. but we need to develop and present options to the president for a U.S. equivalent of a digital currency, either a private-public partnership.
Key, private-public partnership.
Or if the Treasury is able to do it with the Fed, something that would be a public-only option. We need a strategy to resuscitate U.S. financial prowess, I think is the way you put it, Madam.
Okay, so there's a simulation right there. Pretty much everything in their simulation has come true. I just showed you the facts, figures, numbers, logic, warriors. Remember, it's all planned out. They had the pandemic preparedness simulation in 2019, November, and then by March 2020, we were in a full lockdown with the pandemic. They had this cybersecurity or digital currency wars simulation in 2019 with Gary Gensler sitting there and now as the head of the SEC. And ironically, it's the biggest case in probably asset history. It's going to be a new asset class. And here we are in the middle of it, the greatest time in human history. So I just wanted to share this information with you guys. Thank you for that that person who sent that TikTok to me. And I always like to dive deeper, right, and show facts, figures, numbers, logic. It's here. The new monetary system is here. The reset has happened, warriors. People saying, oh, there's going to be a switch. It's happening right now as you speak. So I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And I hope this information finds you well. But start to prepare your family as well. Warriors, rise. Get your shit together. Let's go.